Let's try audio again. 1, 2, 1, 2. No sound from you, huh? Um, this one should do actually. Let's
I'm not
try.
sure if we do
Yeah,
have sound or not.
sound should be good now.
Okay, let's see. Chat.
We got a
Yes.
thumbs up.
1, 2, 3, 4. Anything? It's really weird just to wait for anybody to respond on a live chat.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
because
a couple
it takes
seconds today, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, there's like a delay of 20 seconds or anything. That's what I believe. So let's see. We do, or I do hope that we do have audio now.
From the looks of it, we have it.
We can eat now. I probably.
Right. So this is kind of amazing because we have Nebula Miner in the chat, and
Awesome.
Nebula Miner has been involved in this, to say the least, for a while. Yeah, Nebula, what should we tear into? We're gonna sniff something. Is there anything that you are especially curious about? We don't have any S21s, I don't think.
No,
Not yet, at least.
no.
No, but probably soon enough we will have a S21. Amazing. Yeah, by the way, also hi to everybody else who's watching currently live. Thank you for joining in. Today we're doing another live stream with Scott and
Hello.
with Jonathan from DCentral. And yeah, we're trying to do we're trying to fulfill the HB sniffing session. Like we will try to do this multiple times over a course of, I don't know, like forever, because we want to know more about those devices. And yeah, it's amazing to have you guys back in here. And Nebula Miner is responding that anything is good. And
Anything is good. All right.
I think we do have a plan what we want to do today. So if you don't know, we do have an S19K Pro and an S1995T, I believe, today with us. Is this correct?
Yeah, so we went with the S1995T because there was this high baud rate that Scott wanted to investigate. And we also did something more than we did in the previous teams. Let me show you here. But essentially, we've spliced those PSU wires here, and we've attached those little clips because we don't have yet, an end sniffer, let's say a PSU sniffer. So for now, we're just going to go and attach the wires, expose, the wire inside, attach, connect this to our logic analyzer, and essentially do the same thing we did with the end sniffer in the previous sessions.
Yeah, I think that's good. By the way, while we're trying to do this, is there any chance that you might want to change the camera? Because it's the same for the stream, and we only see those tiny pictures.
Oh yeah, so you mean going here? Yeah. Let me
So
create
yeah, that's
quickly.
sniffer.
I'll create.
But I'm not sure if you like want to do something on the board, so that
Just give me a sec.
if you just increase one of those cameras.
Yeah.
This is some live fixing here. Nice. There we go.
That should do. So here we can see more appropriately, and you can see the little clips there. I'll just bring the machine so we can see. So those little clips here are attached to the wire. And
Nice.
let me bring that out so we can have a better.
So, by the way, for all the people who are joining in here who don't understand what we're trying to do on this series, HB sniffing is basically like another wording for hashboard sniffing. What we're trying to do is, as you do see, Jonathan has ripped off some of the isolation of those cables, and we are applying or attaching some other cables to it so that we can try to filter out the signals, or at least read what signals are going over those lines. Would you add in anything else, Scott?
Well, I think, yeah, today, before the stream, we were talking about what might be interesting to go over today, and I was talking about, it'd be cool to look at the S1995T because those have a higher baud rate, like Jonathan was saying. It'd be cool to look at that. But another thing it'd be cool to look at here is the communication with not the hashboards in this case, but with the power supply, the PSU. So that's what this cable is that Jonathan has hacked together here. It's a 6-pin cable. I think only 4 of the actual wires are in use.
Yeah, so let me show you the original cable here. I left one for demonstration. So this is the cable. So you have one hand that's a 6-pin. Let's try to get some focus there. All right, so we can barely see, but you can see the 6 pins there, and 2 of them are left alone. So let's go and see here, and then you have the 4-pin here. So it's going from one end to the other, and what we did is we spliced here. So we'll go and figure out which pin is what. So you did send me that over Discord, Scott. So I'll go ahead and have a look. If we have J1 there. All right, so this one, we have to look like this. Let me just move so it's easy on me. This one.
That is an impressively long PSU data cable, by the way.
Oh yeah, I believe those are for testing. We have a lot of those cables.
Nice. So, I'm sure all of our listeners know this, but just in case you don't, what's going on here is the control board on the miner has a data connection to the power supply, and it uses this to both monitor the voltage and control the voltage. So with these newer generation miners, the voltage that's provided on the output of the power supply basically goes directly to the chains of ASICs on the hashboard. Back in the day, they used to regulate the voltage on the hashboards, like with the S9s and stuff. But now you can see it in sort of the right-hand side of Jonathan's screen there is those big metal connectors. Those are the power rails that go to the hashboards. And the PSU can be adjusted. Its output can be adjusted over this data cable from, I think, probably, well, Jonathan, I don't know, do you know the range of voltage? It's like
on the
10 to 15.
APW12, is that the question?
Yeah, or whatever one you have there. Is that APW12?
Yeah, it's APW12. I believe from mine the range is between 12. No, yeah, you can go as low as 12, but I think it's stuck at 13, and it's between what is it, 16 and 13 operating power. I believe so.
Okay.
We can see the rating actually. So it's 12 to 15.
I mean, I'm really interested in what we can figure out with the power supply communication. If there's actually anything special going on. I mean, I'm not sure.
There definitely is some special stuff going on. Notably cool guy, Zach Bomsta, has put together this thing called the Loki board. And the Loki board, he reverse engineered all of this stuff. And the Loki board connects to your hashboard and kind of fakes the communication with the power supply so that you can use a different power supply. But one of the things that I'm at least personally interested in is, what does the two-way communication look like with the power supply? Because we have this project called the Bitcrane. You can actually see it right there in the corner on Jonathan's table, and it's kind of an experiment at this point, but it's a replacement hashboard, and it has that PSU data cable connector on the right side, and so it basically will allow you to instead of loading a firmware onto the control board, you can just run it on your computer, connected via USB to the Bitcrane. And so one of the opportunities we have is to control the power supply from the Bitcrane from your computer. And for that, we need to kind of get a handle on this communication protocol that the power supply has. So that was kind of the motivation, I guess, on my side for suggesting we sniff this PSU communication today.
I mean, that's kind of interesting. Like, imagine about like your power supply is fading for whatever reason, and now let's move this on a little bit more like to the Apple side. Maybe you guys are familiar with it, but if you try to repair your iPhone or your iPad, whatever, those ICs or those different components, they all do have their personal ID, and whenever you try to change anything, it won't work any longer. Like if you try to change your front-facing camera, you cannot use it any longer because it has a different ID than the one that your software is programmed to. And if this is also like, it is probably true to the Bitmain devices, but this is definitely something that we need to figure out if there is any way. And we know with the Loki board there is a way to figure it out that we can simulate it, but maybe there's a way to crack it so that we can maybe do more with it. I'm not sure.
One sec, I just need to go and fix one of my cables that broke.
Right. I mean, that's a really interesting point, right? I mean, right now, these miners, nothing's really very secure. They play a couple games with the firmware on the control board, but for the most part, it's not, encrypted or authenticated or anything. But you could imagine if they added something like Apple's secure element, I think it's called, to the power supply, such that you couldn't turn on the power supply if you had like, the key, or you authenticated the firmware with it or something, right? That could really put aftermarket firmware sort of out of business, which would be pretty gnarly. I mean, we've seen Bitmain do some things to sort of thwart third-party firmware, and so far I think it's all been broken by various third-party firmware manufacturers. But if they wanted to, they could get pretty militant on this. So it's cool to look into it, see how it works, understand it.
Yeah, also there's a good comment in the live chat. Damit involved he mentioned that it's not a good idea to expose the cable or all the cables in the same position. It's true, it's probably not the best idea, but
yeah, I thought about that, but ran out of time a bit.
Yeah, it probably would take more time to make different exposures on those isolated wires.
But even better is and it proves the utility of the sniffer, even if it's a really simple gadget. It proves that it has a utility to have those those traces with the exposed pin. You just go and connect to it, so it removes and avoids all that messing around. And I think it's even better for the clarity of the signal, right? Because you're avoiding like noise from the exposed wires.
I see. But there's also like there's a thing like he mentioned, what if we do have a short? Like, sure, obviously the data that we can now then read from the I2C is no longer valid, but I mean, the best that we can do is to spread those cables as far apart as we can and then try to connect the sniffer to it, I'd say.
So would you guys prefer, what I can do is I can have someone here splice them away for us, and in the meantime we can go ahead and maybe look at dashboards if there's something we want to look at here first. In the meantime we'll get the cable ready. What do you think?
Yeah, we could look at the this is the 95T that you have here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could look at the UART data to the hashboard like we were doing before and sort of compare the difference with the JPro that we looked at last time.
1 second. I do have that cable fixed up for now if we want to proceed, but what we can do is in the meantime have another one be prepared. So.
Yeah, whatever you feel like. I mean, Wonklu and I are just sort of the commentators here. You're the one doing the actual engineering work. So You know, whatever you
Well,
feel like doing live.
learning with the pros, you know. So that's I look for your guidance. But yeah, so maybe we can start with the Hashboard and Sniffer because it's more convenient to use. In the meantime, we'll get a better wire sorted, and or we can go ahead and cowboy style attach this one. Either
We
way
need to
works for
make
me.
another version of the ant sniffer that has the PSU cable on it as well,
Agreed.
don't we?
Agreed.
Yeah, like having both cables there on it and just being able to sniff at the same time on both would
Exactly.
be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, Sir Vapes, if you're listening, man, we got some work for you. Sir Vapes a lot is the he's the the lead on Open Source Miners United and the creator of the Ant Sniffer board.
So finally we have everything we need. So we should start a capture first. Still have those same settings there. So you guys are seeing the logic analyzer screen right now, right? In the stream.
We do see your camera currently.
Oh,
Like
No,
yeah.
we don't see
Yeah.
your logic analyzer. There
There
we
you
go.
go.
there we go.
All right.
So for the people who are not knowing what this is a tool to see what we can sniff on those cables. Like we're trying to see what's going on there on those signal lines on those cables. And this is a tool that allows us to actually capture what's going on. And if I'm not mistaken, the hardware to use this software is expensive AF.
Yes, that's right. So it's called a Salier, and it's a logic analyzer. It's a USB logic analyzer, and it's the Cadillac. It's not the most expensive one you can get. That's probably HP. But as far as USB logic analyzers go, it's pretty expensive. I think the one that Jonathan has is probably about $1,000. So it's expensive, but it's very good. It works really well. It has a very high sample rate. It's super reliable. The software, which you can see on the screen here, that goes with it, is just fantastic. I love it. I've been using it for years in my day job, and it's saved my ass so many times. It's a fantastic tool.
I think we already spoke about this in the last live stream, and we also mentioned that it probably is more the software that's making this expensive than the hardware, right?
So the hardware is pretty fancy too. I think they've got like a badass FPGA in there and some really nice analog front ends. It's nice all around. I'd say top to bottom, it's very well done.
Sure, sometimes you just have to pay the price for a working product. It's what it is.
For a baud
It is
rate,
what
do
it
we
is.
want to go for a 3.1 to 5 like we did previously, or are we looking at some other level?
So actually, I don't know what the baud rate is going to be. We're going to have to look at it and see. I might suggest you start it at 115200.
Back after.
Did you get 2 zeros in there? 115200.
Yeah, I believe that was, but let me go back. 15200. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that these boards, from what I've seen, they all start at 115.2K baud, and then they switch it to a higher one once they get going. So I suspect that the S1995T is going to switch to a very high baud rate, but we'll see.
Let's start the capture. All right. So it is a go. Now it will be Bitmain firmware. I did try to get LuxOS on there, but I'm not too familiar with that firmware yet. And the recommender tool is asking for a license, so it's something I'm not really familiar with. So I'll have to go.
Yeah, that's right. You have to contact them on like Telegram or something to get a license for the firmware. It's kind of nonsense.
That's so annoying.
That's kind of a ridiculous way to do firmware, in my opinion. But
Yeah. Well, hopefully this will soon be a problem of the past. Because we did mention the Bitcoin, but there's also a lot of side projects that are coming from Open Source Miners United. Sorry about that. So there's also the BitCart that you guys are working on, and I believe this will essentially allow us to make our own control board and have our own firmware running on there. And I personally suspect, if it gains sufficient traction, we could see even those not manufacturers, but those firmware producers like Brains and LuxOS maybe to look at developing their own firmware for the big car. So it's something I'm really curious to see how it all develops.
Yes, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I think Wanklu just said he'll be right back. But yes, I hope you're right. I think you're going to be right. The opening up the control board to be basically a Raspberry Pi, I'm hoping it opens the floodgates for people to screw around with this and develop it.
Yeah.
And there's a dude who's joined the OSMU called actually I don't know his name, but he's made his handle is SHUFPS. No, it's PMAXUW.
Oh yeah.
His GitHub handle is SHUPFS, something like that. Anyways, this dude is killing it. He's working on the Bitaxe Project,
Yeah.
and he's made a shield, like a Raspberry Pi hat that has an ASIC on it.
Yeah,
And
I'm
he's
gonna
made
post it in the live chat for the people to watch this. I will tell something about this in a second as well. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just saying he's killing it. But one of the things that he's done is made a Python miner firmware essentially that runs on a Raspberry Pi and communicates with the Bitmain ASICs, and that's like 90% of the job here towards making our own Raspberry Pi based miner firmware. So this is really coming along. I think we just have a couple more loose ends to tie up. I need to do a little bit of work on the Bitcart hardware. But yeah, this is going to happen.
I mean, the Pi eggs overall is such a nice idea and how he did it. I mean, he's living next to me, and I spoke with him about it. The thing why he even came up with the idea of the Pi eggs is for him pretty simple. He was annoyed by the size of all the ICs and how tiny they were for the bit eggs, so he figured out he needs something with 0805 component sizes, and yeah, I mean, I can understand him. It's a little bit tricky. I tried it myself, and I will probably never do it again. This is something a pick and place machine should do. No, it's all right. I mean, sure, for the audience that we're trying to reach, this is nothing you should do by hand, but definitely the Bitaxe is a learning curve, and he tried to make it just a little bit more user friendly. And he also created the first open source multi-ASIC miner. He calls it the QAX because he's using 4 ASIC chips on it. This is basically a USB controlled board, but it's working, it's functional. He's at 1.8 terahash at 47 watts. So that's roughly 25 to 26 watts per terahash. So that's pretty amazing on this end. But yeah, this work that he's doing is pretty amazing, and I linked it in the live chat if you guys are interested in it as well.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have these people just show up and they're like, "Oh, hey, I want to do this thing," and they just do it and continue to share with us what they're doing. It's just like, I feel like I'm always saying this, but like, this is how we win. This is so cool. The rate of development is just far surpassed what anyone could do on sort of a closed source private project.
So I did a rookie mistake and didn't properly plug the other end of the ant sniffer, so obviously we wouldn't capture nothing. Let's start again. There we go, guys.
Okay, so now you're starting the ASIC and you have started. Okay, nice. Okay, let's see when we do get the first signals in there. By the way, while we're talking about this, about the OSMU community, maybe some guys of you are following me on Twitter or X, how it is called nowadays. I talked about it that OSMU is not your regular community that you're used to. I think it's like a movement, and I'm not like overloading here or anything else. It really is. It's like the ethos that Bitcoin had in its original back, but these days. And that's something that most people will come back, I believe.
It's so exciting. It's so exciting.
So let's see. So we did see the first spike. It's like nothing, I believe. It's like the first, hey, I'm awake. And now we wait for the first signal to
Yeah.
say, hello, I'm there.
So we can go ahead and reload the logs and see if everything is going well. We do have our
Uh-huh.
keyboard, so it's adjusting the power like it does every boot. It takes about 30 seconds. In the meantime, it does
By the
that.
way,
Oh yeah, go
before
ahead.
you go ahead, sorry for interrupting you, but by the way, before you go ahead, what kind of software are we using? Are we using the official Antminer software today, or because you wrote about that you're trying to use another software?
Yeah. So I wanted us to have LuxOS installed, but unfortunately, I wasn't aware about their license. In Commander to install the firmware. So right now I'm stuck on Bitmain or on BenzoOS. I can go and grab a card, but for now I just got us on Bitmain.
All right, interesting. I didn't know that they do have some sort of a license that you need. Interesting.
Yeah, in my mind it's super annoying, and even as conversion, when you look at it, it's like it's a, I'll say it prevents you from getting there. So I don't see really what's the point of that, but that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's looking like
LuxOS, yeah, they're not producing any miners, so they need to make money probably with just the software. Hmm. Yeah, but nothing that we're interested in. This stream is about open source, and it will always be about open source, so we don't give a fuck. Sorry, just
and
the F-bomb here.
yeah, so their business model, is a fee-based model. So it's essentially the same as Brains, where they'll collect a percentage of the shares that the machine produces. I believe it's 2% fee they'll take, and obviously they do the same as Brains. If you mine on their own mining pool, then they'll void that fee. So yeah. So we have our Antminer S19 ready and ashing here. So if we go back to our logic analyzer, we can now see the
Ooh,
signal and the exchange is there.
there we go.
So let's
It's
try to have
definitely
a better
going
thing.
now.
I definitely need to get a mouse for the next streams because using that touchpad is really internal. So we can keep on capturing a bit like this, really as you guys wish. We can go ahead and try to make some changes on the unit. Uh, what are we hacking today?
I think actually the first thing I'm curious about is what the baud rate it's switched to
Yeah,
is. So I think we could probably just stop it for now.
yeah. And let's also stop the unit so it removes a bit of
Yeah,
the
so you're not
noise.
standing next to the jet engine.
All right, and let's see if I'm a good student, but I think I should be able to get you that baud rate. So when we have this here, actually, those one are good. I think it's junk, right? Oh no, it's not because we aren't on the other baud rate, so that's why we can see it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
it's not going to decode it right yet. So if you can
yeah.
zoom way in on one of those little packets.
And I want to go to the one that's the farthest apart, right? I believe so. That would be one.
No, no, no. I think you need to zoom like quite a bit further in on one of those lines.
Got it. Got it. Oh yeah.
There we go.
Oh, by the way, Nebula is also mentioning that we could use his plugin that he wrote. But we will do. We will do. We already used it in the last live stream, I believe.
We
Absolutely, we
did. Yeah,
did.
Nebula. We used it. We tried it out in the last one. I don't think we have the last live stream we tried out an XP, I believe, and so we didn't have or no, we were on a J Pro, and so we didn't have
Correct.
the right
Yes.
decoder.
Correct. But we did figure out that it was essentially able to decode pretty much everything, pretty much on spot. I think there was like two or three message, and we have to see because I haven't even used it on the BM1367, and it's very much possible that it's messages that haven't been decoded there as well. But yeah, so we can see this is the Nebula Miner extension. So we did go on GitHub to grab his extension last time, and it took me some time to figure out how to add it. Let me see if I can show you guys again. But we went to, I
Hold on,
believe.
before you enable that, let's get the baud rate
Yeah.
correct. Because it'll need that. So if you go to two of those pulses that are sort of evenly spaced, yeah, like that one. What does it say? Where's that little pop-up normally? There we go. What
Yeah.
does it say? The frequency is
The frequency.
6.25 megahertz. Okay, so that's let's see, what's the standard baud rate in there? 6 point. Let's try. Yeah, let's.
So are we waiting for some information, or are we do we go and
All right,
edit?
yeah, I was just Googling it real quick. Try putting 6.25 million in the baud rate, and we'll see what it comes up with.
Yeah. So we
I mean,
said,
that's also like an interesting part of doing such a sniffing session. Sometimes you just need to wiggle around a little bit with all those settings and trying to figure out what's going on, how you could actually decode the serial that you're reading, right?
All right, we got a little bit of a framing error there. Let's see.
Doesn't seem right.
Doesn't like that baud rate. There's usually a what do we have there? 625. Let's.
So you have those smaller ones that are at 625, but you also have the one at 3125, the longer one. And I know we did in the past use that 3125 baud rate.
Let me see what's I'm trying to figure out, because there's like standard baud rates. They're usually like powers of 2.
Miner is mentioning in the chat like 12.5 megabits per second.
12.5. Okay, yeah, let's try it. There's a baud rate estimator in the Salier measure tool. Really? Where's that?
Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, we got it.
There we go. Nice.
Nice. Nebula is right again. Perfect. All right. So I think you might need to change the other channel, the baud rate on the other channel, if you haven't already.
Sure.
Yeah. So okay, so that's interesting. So we were off by, we were exactly half. So
Yeah, and we have the magic formula there too, so that's good.
okay, so this is cool. So if our faithful viewers remember from our last stream, we were looking at the J Pro, and we were at I think 3.125 megabaud, which is a quarter of the baud rate we're at now. And so you're thinking like, what? The J Pro is newer than the S19. Why does the S19 have a higher baud rate? Like, what's going on there? And this, I suspect, is because the S19 is not rolling the version. So the control board needs to send out work incredibly fast to the hashboards, because they only have the nonce, meaning like all the ASICs on the hashboards can do is go through the 32-bit nonce. So once they run through the 32-bit nonce, then they need more work from the control board. And you're thinking like, okay, wait, 32 bits, that's a lot. But you have to remember, this whole machine is doing 95 trillion hashes per second. So it can get through 2 to the 32 hashes pretty quickly when it's doing 95 trillion a second. So anyways, that's a long way of saying that's why the baud rate is higher on these, is because it has to send out new work to the hashboards very quickly. And so that's what we're seeing here, is these packets, I think what you have up on the screen there is probably the message. The yellow trace there is the message. I think that's the new work going out to the hashboard. And I think the red is probably the response. Can you zoom out a little bit, Jonathan, so we can see what...
By the way, the baud rate estimator is in the extension tab on the marketplace in this tool, so we can just quickly install it for further for future sessions.
Let's see. I'm sure Nebula will correct me if I'm wrong here, but which one is transmit and which one is receive here?
I mean, didn't we had any like startup sequence?
So actually, could you zoom in on one of those yellow packets real quick? Yeah.
I think that's like this the sender to the unit, and the one above is the receive from the hashboard.
Yes, right. Yeah. Okay, so the yellow is the response from the hashboard, and the red is the transmit.
Oh, you think so? I was thinking the other way around. Like the response from is red. Like, we need a live decoder for this.
No, I'm pretty sure that. So if it starts with AA55, that's a response from the hashboard, and if it starts with 55AA, that's a transmit to the hashboard.
Red is from control board to hashboard. Orange is hashboard to control board. It's what? Yeah. All right.
Red. Wait. What?
So yeah, you are correct. So yellow or orange is the response from the hashboard to the control board.
Yes. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you, Nebula, for setting us straight once again. Telling you, legend here. All these baud rates are multiple of the input clock at 25 megahertz. Okay, that makes sense. Baud rate estimate in an extensions marketplace. Nice.
Yeah, about that.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I got it here installed.
Oh, there it is. Nice. So it's pretty wild. Like you look at that red trace there, and it's just constantly sending out new work. Just constantly. Like that's why it has to go at such a high baud rate, is because there literally isn't time to send out all the bits before it's time to send more. So you just have to send them faster so that you can send them more frequently. This is really cool.
By the way, speaking about sending out all those bits, are you aware? You are probably aware. We spoke about this, but so a couple days ago we spoke about the fact that with the Bitaxe we are not using all the bits on the nonce. Like I would be interested in if we do see the same behavior on the Bitmain as well, or not.
Yes, actually, and this we could do that analysis from this trace. There's a format, and all the nonces returned from this particular hashboard are going to be in those packets, and so we could probably want to do it in like Python or something, but like you could parse this entire stream and show all of the nonces returned and see, is it hitting all the bits?
Super interesting.
You might need to let it run for longer if you want to really get a good idea of.
I mean, every submit or every submit should have a clear view for us if there are any bits that are not used.
I mean, it's kind of random, like which nonce is going to be sent back, because obviously we don't know what nonce is going to meet the difficulty. But like over time, you would think, because it's random, you should have good coverage over all of the bits, all of the 32 bits.
Oh yeah, but wasn't there that signature? That some Antminer, I believe the S9 was leaving, and we can essentially see when the ASIC started, because you can see some nonce space being left alone. And I don't recall what trick it was that made it that they wouldn't go like fully random. There was like this area when you put it visually, you could see like white stripes of like empty nonces,
Yeah.
unexplored nonces.
Yeah, that's right. There was a guy, I think it was from Chain Analysis or one of those chain analysis companies, who was looking at all of the um, all the nonces for solved blocks. So like looking at the blockchain
Yeah.
and seeing all the nonces and then plotting them basically, and you can see um, basically the pattern of nonces returned. He was able to figure out a way um, to determine what miner produced it, which is kind of wild. Because each one, I guess, each miner has its sort of signature as to, which bits it scans over.
Yeah, that's interesting because like Nebula Miner also mentioned like because that every hashboard and probably every unit does have like sometimes a different count of ASIC chips on it. It does have sometimes a different space in the nonce. It's also interesting. Like if you build like 100 of those 95 terahash ones, and then you do have like 100 of those 120 terahash ones, you probably do have a different arrangement of those ASIC chips. And as he stated, Bitmain is using the chip addresses on the MSBs for the nonces. If you do have this difference, and just like the ASIC number of how many ASICs you do have on your hashboard, that makes a difference in how the nonce response looks like.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to think about because you have all these ASICs on a hashboard and you don't want to have any of them duplicating work, meaning you don't want to have any of the ASICs hashing the same nonce that another ASIC is hashing. So you need to take that 32-bit nonce range and divide it up amongst all the ASICs on the board. And like, I think what Nebula is saying is that it doesn't necessarily divide evenly amongst all those chips. So some of them just might, some of those bits might just be skipped, or some of those numbers at least might be skipped, which is kind of wild. And so like that machine will, even over a long period of time, that machine will never find a nonce in that that region that isn't allocated to an ASIC.
So if you guys want to see, I put it on screen. It's Coin Matrix that produced it, and you can see from 2016, essentially the release of the S9. You can see those like huge marks, and you can see it going away as the S9 gets unplugged. I don't know if they have an updated version of this graph, but super interesting. Definitely, if the viewers want to go and have a look, I definitely invite to go and do so.
That's so cool, right? And this is OG, right? So that's starting like the beginning of Bitcoin there. So they clearly didn't have ASICs then. I don't know when we started getting ASICs on the scene. Was it 2012 or 13 or something when the first ones came out?
From the looks of it, I'd say yeah.
Yeah, right. 2010 was just like Satoshi and some of those early guys just using their CPU or maybe their GPU to mine.
GPUs too, yeah.
And the difficulty was really low, so they clearly were starting at zero and counting up, and essentially all of the nonces found were just in the first. What is that?
There was also an interesting block, like back in the days, 2011 was it, where it took over 1 hour or 2 hours to find the next block. That's something that happens really, really randomly, or not that often nowadays, due to the high amount of hash rate we do have.
But it did happen lately. It did happen. We had this like crazy block time for I don't even recall what it was, but it was I think it was historic. I think we beat the record lately, like 1 or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Wow,
that
really?
was
We
the
beat the
concern I
record
was.
for the longest block time.
Yeah. It took like
I'm not sure,
I don't even
but
recall, but I
what
think it
I was.
was a few hours.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's really interesting. I mean, there was something that I read recently in an article about um, that there is the potential that we do hash through the next nonce that we need to find for the next block for even like a week or so. Like the potential is there that the ASIC is never lucky to find it. Like even with the high hash rate that we do have nowadays. So that's really freaking. So thinking about this is freaking me out. Like in my mind, it's mind bending.
There was there's an interesting article by Bob Burnett out there about an attack on Bitcoin, and it's kind of crazy. And I think the gist of what he says is that if the government or whoever takes the top three Bitcoin miners offline, like they just stop. So they represent like a large percentage of the current Bitcoin hash rate. So if they just go offline, like one day they just stop, no mining, that the difficulty takes 2 weeks to change. So the difficulty would still be high, but basically the network hash rate would be just decimated. It would go
Yeah.
way down, and so it could take weeks for the next block to be
Mhm.
found.
Imagine how high the block rewards would be. But
Well, that's
yes,
the problem is no if there's no blocks being found, no transactions are being processed. So like
yeah, sure.
Bitcoin comes to a standstill if the miners aren't running. And so the problem is, I think that the way the difficulty is calculated, it doesn't change until a certain number of blocks have happened. And so we're not finding blocks fast at all. And so it's going to take forever for the difficulty to change and for Bitcoin to get back on track. And so
I
then,
think I think you're even overshooting a little bit of the goal that there would be needed to do so. Just take Foundry out of service. That's 30% of the network hash rate gone.
Yeah, but we have
yeah,
to remember decentralization and mining is happening on many different levels, and I think it's not all that white and black. So you do have, for instance,
Mhm.
there's ashers, and Foundry and some other pools might have or may not have some contracts with some of those ashers that forces them to be there. But let's say Foundry is forced out of business or something by the U.S. government. Well, in this case, I'm pretty sure it's a breach of contract, and those ashers could just move to another pool. So there's that.
Yeah, probably.
You can see it just from what happened in China, right? So there's still Ant pool operating, even though it's a Chinese pool. And the hashers, when there was that ban, well, first some of them just went underground and they're still hashing, and the others they're just like the machines they changed hand or they migrated or whatever happened. But you can see the network hash rate essentially took a small dip and recovered it in like what 3 6 months, I don't recall exactly, but it was a essentially non-event. And just I recall a time where people would say like if you kill it in China, essentially Bitcoin is dead. So I think it's really there's a
Uh,
lot of dynamics at play, and it's much more decentralized already. Even though it's not ideal, it's already much more decentralized than what people assume it is.
I mean, it's for the thing what we are doing here, what we are representing with OSMU, and what we are doing here in overall in general. Not speaking about this live stream today, but in general, what this community is doing is also taking us a huge step forward into this decentralization part that you spoke about. Also, like what I really am pleased about is to see that we do hit a solo block. Not we in particular, but like we as miners. Like I'm talking about all of us occasionally. Like we do see CK pool is sometimes the solo pool that probably most of the people out there know. They occasionally hit a block. That's the right step forward, I believe.
yes,
And
definitely.
with the public pool that we do have, and now with the new pool that DCentral spin up, the solo.d-central.tech pool, this one is also up. Like we're spinning up multiple pools that are forced or that are into this solo behavior. That's a step into the right direction, and I think that this will become bigger and bigger in the future.
If you do allow me, like maybe 2 minutes, like there's this project I have in mind. So I have the Bitaxe challenge in mind, and it's something I'd like to put in place really shortly. So my goal with the Bitaxe challenge is essentially to make sure that in 2024 the plebs find a fuck you block. And what I mean by that is we essentially make it for sure 100% probability we find a block in 2024. And what I calculated is we essentially need 20,000 BM1366 chip, pointed to a pool to find a block in average 300 days right now. So what I'm thinking.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How many chips did you say to hit that?
20K chips, 20K BM1366 chips, and we can do the maths with the viewers. So we can solve.
Yeah, just go over to a solo calculator on web now.
So
you need to increase the size of
10,000 terahash.
One second, Jonathan. If you could increase the size of your screen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go.
Right. So let's say 10 petahash. So that's essentially 20,000 BM1366 chips pointed to a pool to guarantee it to find a block in about 300 days, give or take. So what I'm thinking.
Yes, we can do this.
Absolutely. That means 20K Bitaxe. But now my goal is to make it for sure we find a block in 2024. So what I'm thinking to put in place, and I'm essentially now making myself obligated to do it, is Antminer S19XP, like I mentioned in previous stream, has 330 chips, right? So what I'm thinking is for each 330 Bitaxe, Minibit, or whatever Bitaxe related products we sell at DCentral, we will take one Antminer S19XP and point it to our solo pool indefinitely until it hits a block. And we plan, like, if we do, for instance, think about it, if we are able to get those numbers to 900 Bitaxe per month, that would represent 10K Bitaxe in a year. And we would cover the other 10K chips we need to cover essentially with S19XP, hit that 10 petahash, and be able to find a fuck you block for the plebs in 2024. So what I'm thinking is to make a huge challenge, a huge series of challenge actually, and I've already started to prepare them, and we'll have the community engage in some of those challenges and it's made to be a learning path at the same time. So for instance, the first challenge would be the obvious, setting your Bitaxe, and then setting a pool, and then you can get to other challenges like, for instance, going and modifying your own Bitaxe, changing parts on it. It can become later on, running your own pool instance, stuff like that, just to familiarize and learn, right? Me personally, I learned by doing, and I suspect a lot of people from our generation are the same, and so that's what I would encourage is to have the tinkerers learn by doing, and I absolutely think we can do it. It just takes, for instance, 1,000 people that buys 10 Bitaxe related products, or 2,000 that buys 5, and so on. So really, it's an absolutely attainable goal. One more thing I didn't announce previously is that we now donate $10 for every Bitaxe related products sales to Open Source Miners United. These donations will be done at the end of each month. So for each product we now sell, $10 will be remitted to support open source mining. So yeah, essentially. Oh, and finally, yeah, for each 100 sales we'll also make a giveaway for whoever engages in our Bitaxe challenge on the social networks. So it's all coming together.
Amazing.
But yeah, I think we can absolutely do it.
This is so cool, man.
So 2024, let's get a fuck you block.
Yes.
We definitely will. We definitely will. Speaking about, imagine we're going forward. We are really, really close to get the first Bitaxe hacks working. Like you guys can't imagine how close we are to get there. And with the next generation, I'd say, of this open source project, with the hacks, we need less devices to actually go there and have the option to, or the possibility of finding a block.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's the Bitaxe too, and we're about to receive our first development board. So I think there's going to be demand from node runners for the Pitaxe as well. So there's all that coming and merging together, and this is why we know we've seen a lot of potential in Open Source Miners United when there was still not a lot of visibility on it. Is because we saw all those awesome projects that the community would come with, and it's all coming to fruition now. I think 2024 will be an insane year, and it's already very hard for us, even with the involvement we have, to just follow up and keep track of everything that the community is developing. So really shout out to everybody that's doing their part, and let's do this.
Oh man, that's so exciting. And in just like a little over 2 months, we got over 1,000 Bitaxe out there. So, in a large part because of DCentral, and then also what Ben's been doing. Like, we got 1,000 of them out there in a very short amount of time, and I just feel like that's just the beginning, right? The network effect of people learning about these is only going to increase that. So, I I think you guys are going to be busy, Jonathan.
So we kind of got busy lately. A lot of successful products. Space Eaters has been doing very great as well. But fortunately now, in a sense, the space eating season, I think, is coming more to a slowdown. So this will free up more time for us to work on the Bitaxe and enable us in making this. I think how to say. Sorry for my bad English. I'm looking for the word, but a featured product. I think it's a special product. I told you, Scott, I was more excited about the BitaxeUltra back then than the S21 release when it just got out. It's really what I believe in, and that's why I want so much for our community to make that fluffy block. To say like micro miners will actually mine a block and prevent censorship on Bitcoin network this year.
Yes. The fuck you block. We'll do it. We'll do it. And we're not stopping there either. There's a lot of very cool ideas in the works, ideas for new miners, different ways to get them out there, different ASICs. I think, it's only going to increase the sort of pleb miner hash rate.
So in between all that time, my logic software crashed for some reason. I think I ran out of memory or something. So let me plug it back. Do we want to go back to a capture of the hashboard, or do we want to? I don't have another wire yet for this stream, so maybe we'll just get the other wire sorted for next stream, because time is already running. But if you want, we can try this one and see what happens. Hopefully, nothing catches fire, and yeah.
Well, all right. So definitely save this trace. I think I would like to look at it, and I think if you post it on the OSMU Discord, that would be awesome.
So we'll have to do another one because since the software crashed, it didn't keep the trace.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll run another one right now.
Okay.
Let's see if our analyzers are here, and we can also for the new viewers that didn't see the protocol decoder from Nebula Miner, which is in the chat right now. You can see, so we have this extension installed. You'll go ahead and choose which input you want to analyze. The clock is 25 megahertz. The ASIC, you can see some ASICs are missing, but what we found out last time is that the 1397 decoder was able to decode many of the messages we'd get, and I believe mid-state counts would just keep it to 1, but I'm not sure. But I believe that's what we did last time, so let's go ahead and try that. And we have it here, so we can add it for the other signal as well. So this one here, this is good. Let's save, and let's start and launch the machine. All right. So we should get that up in a sec. All right.
By the way, while we're speaking about this and waiting here for the device to boot up, if you do have any viewers from Germany or from Europe here, beware, I'm doing this year a couple of workshops here in Germany. So I'm traveling across Germany this year, and I'm doing workshops especially for the Bitaxe, how to solder it, what it is, how it functions, everything around Bitaxe. I'm doing this on different events. I will be at different events. More on this will come in the future, and I will definitely post about this on Twitter. But you can also check out my website and see what's going on there. I do have a tab for workshops, and the first one is at the BTC Privacy event in the Bitcoin Hotel in Ploching. It's in the south of Germany. So yeah, if you're interested in something like this, just keep an eye on this. And unfortunately, it's in Germany. So for all the US people, I'm sorry for you, but yeah, we definitely will be having something in the US sometime in the future as well, I believe.
I think we got something there.
Yeah, so
I
you
mean,
can see from
what
the
about
live.
the national event?
What was that?
I was just mentioning the Nashville BTC event. What about this? Did this already happen, or when is this supposed to be?
Oh, the Canadian.
The Bitcoin conference in Nashville.
Oh, this one.
It's in July, I think.
Oh, right.
But Jonathan's got an event coming up in. I think it's in. Is it in Toronto? The Canadian Bitcoin conference.
No, this one is actually in my hood, so it's in Montreal. So and definitely Scott,
Okay.
there's no way you're not coming. So we'll arrange that whatever by whatever means. But I already spoke to the organizers about having you there. So I believe we should see you and hopefully even get some time. Because I think you have a lot of interesting stuff to share with the community. That said, yeah, it's coming. It's in May. I believe it's May 16 to 18. And last year was a blast. It was the first Bitcoin, just Bitcoin exclusive conference. There was a lot of interesting talks. Unfortunately, didn't manage to go to most of them, but I know a lot of the people that were talking there, and I know their ideologies and talk and speech. So I know it's definitely a blast. So yeah, last year we did the first, for what I know, we did the first Bitaxe workshop. It was a 16 student workshop. Unfortunately, because it was the first attempt, so first attempts rarely go perfect the first time. So nobody finished their Bitaxe, but everybody, obviously, we finished them for them, and everybody received their Bitaxe after. And I think everybody that was here actually mentioned having a very good time. I think we're going to see a lot of them again this year because we're doing another workshop. We're actually doing it in two parts. And I believe there are going to be two parts of 12 students. So there's only 24 tickets. And I'm saying only, it's funny because last year we had 16. I thought, will we, fill all the spots? And it filled very quickly. And now I'm pretty sure that 24 won't be enough. So yeah, definitely go and head over the Bitcoin conference website. I'm not sure if the tickets are already on sale yet or not, but they should be shortly.
I'm excited to come check it out.
So in the meantime, let me go and export that capture. I'll share it in the same Discord channel I shared it last time. So for those that weren't
Yeah,
with us in the previous streams, first of all, obviously you can go and watch them again, but you can also follow on the data because I did share it on the Open Source Miners United Discord channel in the sniffer tab. So you can go ahead and download that data and interpret it in your basement during night.
So Jonathan, this is a S19 95T. So is that the 1398, the BM 1398 that's in there?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this is good to know. I don't think anyone's done a logic capture of the communications with that chip yet. So this will be a good one to have.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm thinking, I don't know what's your thoughts about this, but I'm pretty sure some members of the community, I myself would love that. to collect essentially a bitaxe from each and every of those chips. So either 1397, then a 1398, 1362, 1366. It's not just about having the most efficient. In my mind, it's also a bit like making your own museum kind of thing.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that would be really cool. What we need to do to have that happen is a trace like this. How the packet format works, so we can see what the changes are, and we need to have ideally the pinout for the chip, but usually those are available in the Bitmain repair guides. So we could dig around for the S19 repair guide to get the pinout for that chip.
Yeah, and I do believe it's the same one
And
as 1397.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
I
guess
think
it's a
it's gonna
pretty
be
similar
simpler
number,
way.
huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe we modify the. Actually, yeah, it would probably be a pretty easy modification to the Bitaxe Max that uses the 1397 to take the 1398.
Yeah. So
So yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
a cool
that could
project.
definitely be interesting. Yeah.
we got the hashboard. So what I'll do is I'll disconnect and let me bring back the screen here so you can follow. So I'll disconnect this hand, remove the end sniffer. Now let's plug back our hashboard directly. We'll remove, oh, this is going down. Do need to make a better setup for those streams. We'll remove the, oh, it's going down again. All right, so I'm removing the,
Camera's like slowly drooping.
yeah. So I'm plugging the power supply cable here in the power supply and then to our control board. Making sure nothing touches the best I can. And we'll do a better wire for next stream, obviously. So let's connect our logic analyzer to those pins, and I have one left here. So my ground is connected obviously to that J black wire, and normally my other signals, which would be SDA, SCL, and I2C, should be connected to my colored wires on the top. Now we'll have to figure out which is what because I don't recall. All right, so let's go and try to not blow stuff away. All right, so now we have, let me see what it does in our logic analyzer. Actually, if we, so we can close this session, create a new one. And if I go here, no, oh yeah. So I'm gonna use the analyzer I2C to monitor my channels, right? Let me bring that on screen. Do I still have you guys with
And
me?
by the way, guys, if you guys are interested in the OSMU Discord as well, we're doing every 2 weeks a town hall talking about what has recently been changed in the OSMU community, what's new, what's brewing, what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So that's happening every 2 weeks, and we will have the second town hall this Saturday. So the time will be UTC +1, 8 p.m. So if you're interested in this, just check out our Discord. You can find the link at the website bitaxe.org. So if you're interested in it, just hop in there and listen.
All right. So, not sure which is what. So I guess we'll have to try and.
I'd say just start with one.
Let's remove
Okay, so you're adding the I2C channels.
Yeah, and I'm unsure those are the correct ones because when I made the wire, I could look back, but yeah, okay, no, let's do this the proper way. I'll look back. Just a minute. So this one here. Yellow. Yellow is gonna be SDA. Yeah. Okay. Blue. Oh yeah, we're right on. All right, so that should do. So let's start with that. Let's remove the unnecessary decoders there. Okay, so I think I'm ready to plug this in and see what happens.
Right.
Let's start the picture. Just making sure, just a second. Just want to close. There we go. Looking good so far.
Do you still have the orange and red on the UART part of the data cable?
Well, it's actually removed. I unplugged that wire,
Okay.
so it's a bit weird. We're having readings there.
It is a bit weird.
And we're not getting any readings from what I can see from the I2C.
Seems like taking ages.
These
Yeah,
ones
yeah,
do take a long time to start up.
yeah, but I'm not. I'm sure there would already be communication between the power supply and the. Yeah, for sure. But what's
Oh yeah,
happening
look at
here?
that power up dashboard.
But open power cell. So there's probably something wrong with how I'm capturing.
Interesting. So it's not happy about the communication now with the power supply? Do you think maybe some of those wires are touching?
Well, no, they're not
Either
touching.
that or
That I'm
we
sure.
did increase the noise too much
The,
on the wires.
yeah, they're not touching, but I'm wondering if the quality of the connection is good enough. Right, right, should.
Be all right. Can we take a look at your setup again?
Yeah. So let me.
Okay, so let me see the Salier again. It looks to me like that cable is in upside down. First of all.
Oh, is it? Yes, you are
Is it?
absolutely right. Yeah, you are absolutely right. My bad.
And then also you have
Yeah, I can see all of them.
the blue and yellow and stuff are plugged into the first port. So you actually
Yeah,
need to
I understand.
pick like channel 0, 1, 2 or whatever, not 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I understood when I've looked back under the device. Okay, so let's go back to our screen here. Remove those channels. How come I removed them from my analyzer? How come I still see them here? Oh yeah, I remember. I need to. No, not here. This one here.
So hold on. I think you don't want those channels 4 and 6 though, because
Oh yeah,
the wire colors are right, but you have it plugged into the first port, right?
yeah. But I fixed that. So let me bring you back so you can see. Because I noticed when you've mentioned it. So here's the
Oh yeah.
fixed
Okay.
wiring.
Okay. All right. I see what you did. Perfect. That should work better.
It's kind of going away. All right, so let's try that again. Nothing's touching. Perfect. And let's start a capture. It's a go.
Yeah, it's looking a little better.
All right.
Did you restart the miner?
Yeah, it just booted back.
Okay.
So it's asking the Hashboard voltage to run on, so it should start to set that pretty shortly. Looking much better already, right? And let's go back to our logbook. Oh, right.
Okay, there we go. That's looking like some I²C to me.
We should probably let it collect a bit more data. We might want to have it ashing before we stop the capture.
Yeah, a little bit more, right? Because I think with this firmware we can't change the voltage, right?
Oh, but it's still going through some voltage changes. You adjust at the boot up sequence, and then it's going to
Okay.
go and reach that voltage asked from the Hashboard, right? So if we go, where was it? Um, oh yeah, here. See? So the EEPROM on those Hashboards is asking for 13.8 volts to be fed by the power supply. So it's coming online. And now we'll go and stop our capture. Okay, let's start the machine. So it does look like we managed to get those captures after all. I was starting to be a bit skeptical of our wiring, but it did it. Now, so is there a particular spot we want to have a look at? Are we looking at the boot up, or are we looking a bit later on? Do we go for that fat stack of exchange here?
Well, to be honest, I've never ever looked at the communication with the data before, so
So awesome.
I wouldn't know. I don't even know what it's doing. I mean, I know in theory what it's doing, but I don't know, how often it's doing it. Maybe if you could zoom out a little bit, I'm curious sort of how often it's sending messages. What's that like? Is that 30 seconds?
Yeah, looks like it. Here you have a shorter message. So that might be when we started hashing. I'm guessing if we give it a bit more time, we might see more constant exchanges. Here there's a lot of cooling down happening, right? So when it boots, there's going
Yeah.
to be that power release. I'm betting it's somewhere here.
And so once it starts mining, is it still continuing to communicate?
Well, I'm pretty sure it does. For at least what I know for sure is the APW12. I think it's the ABC. No, it's going to be the DEF. Actually, they're for sure going to be doing it because there's no pick anymore on the hashboards, and so the control board is taking care of all of that stuff. And so, what is it that makes me? Um, but there's a lot of I can't recall exactly what put me on that on that lead, but I'm pretty sure that the APW12 DEF. Oh yeah, because they have that feedback. They have that voltage feedback feature. I was searching in my mind, but that voltage feedback feature is essentially looking for the voltage, on the hashboards, and it's adjusting against it. While the ABC is not doing it, and my understanding is it's related to having a pick on the hashboards that the ABC doesn't need to do it. And so that's why you'll normally see the APW12 DEF connected to the pickless version of the 19 series.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I didn't know that.
So give or take, that's my understanding of it. But yeah.
This is all very interesting. I mean, if we're going to make a replacement hashboard, the bit cart or the bit crane, we need to be properly controlling the power supply as well. So
Yeah.
this I think we're gonna have to do a bunch of this with the different models, and figure out what this protocol looks like.
Not only different models.
This is
Sorry to cut, but not only different models, but also different firmwares. Like we touched on, there's that LuxOS. Just that the fact that they're having that feature where you can change the voltage during runtime is something I'm really curious about. I haven't because I've been really using Brains for most of the time, and so it's something. There's more than one reason I want to go and explore LuxOS as well with you guys, but also because I think there's going to be a lot of ways for us to get more understanding on how we can implement those features in our own open source firmware.
one of the things I'm very interested in is determining the actual power used by the miner, so you can calculate the real efficiency. As far as I know, all of the firmware, it estimates the efficiency because it doesn't actually measure the current. Right. So to get the power, you need the voltage and the current. And right now it can measure the voltage, but not the current. So it has to estimate the current in order to get the power, in order to match that with the hash rate to get the efficiency. So I've been thinking about some ideas about how we could retrofit these miners with current sensors so that you can get a sort of a real-time actual efficiency out of them, which would be a cool thing as well. But
absolutely,
in order to do that, we'll need to know how to send the appropriate I2C command to the power supply to get the voltage back from it, and then of course how to adjust the voltage, how to turn it on, turn it off. So I think the way to do that is obviously you should save this trace and we can get a look at that. But I think the way to do that is we need to send a series of we know what we sent to the power supply. Like we told it to change voltage. We told it to turn on, to turn off. And so if we can do that with one of the firmware that's out there, we can then also sniff the logic at the same time and sort of back out what that protocol is like.
All right, so the capture is saved. I'll put it on the Discord, the Open Source Miners United channel again. So you guys go in the description of both those streams, and there's going to be a link in the description to get to that channel. Once you're in the channel, just up to the Ant Sniffer tab, and you should see the capture files, which you'll be able to load in your Logic software. The Logic software is free of use, so you can just go to their website and download it. Even though you don't have the device, it's going to let you see the exact same captures that we have on screen right now.
So if you could, when you upload this, if you could mention which power supply, which control board, and which miner, and then also which firmware you're using with it, so that we can make sure that we know what's talking to what.
Just as a matter of documentation, while we're here, and I can refer myself to the stream later, but we do have a APW12 is the 12.15 version. It's a version C, and it's running Bitmain's latest firmware at the moment, the stock firmware. With the stock settings, it was aiming for 13.8 volts with the current Hashboard's EEPROM.
Nice. Now, this is going to be cool.
So it's really exciting because go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that there's a couple new people that showed up in the OSMU that are electrical engineers and said they were interested in helping out too. So awesome. This will be good. We can point them at this and be like, all right, here's some projects to work on if you want something to work on.
Yeah, so obviously those streams is also a very good moment to recall to everybody that any contribution to an open source project is definitely welcomed. So I noticed there was a lot of work done on the documentation. Even ourselves at DCentral, we now have a troubleshooting guide we've made with most of the issues we saw from our customers in our support tickets. So we're trying, really to document the whole thing. Anybody that can contribute by their means, whether you're an electrical engineer or just doing some social engagement, whatever it is, will help the movement and help what we're trying to achieve here. Remember, the grander challenge here is to mine a first fuck you block in 2024. So we need to have those 10,000, well, at least those 20K BM1366 connected to our pleb RAM pools.
I saw that on Twitter this morning, Jonathan. You talked about it briefly, but maybe you can talk a little bit more about your support documentation that you've put together.
Oh yeah, well, it's really it's nothing too big. It's really just us going through all the support tickets we've received over time by shipping the Bitaxe. Unfortunately, some of them will have issues. And for anybody that's watching, just know that DCentral provides a 3-month warranty. So if it's something we can't fix with you, we'll definitely we got you covered. So it's no biggies there. Sometimes it can take a bit time, but do know our process has been speeding up, and I believe we might finish this week. Maybe with some stocks left in inventory finally after all that time. So it's definitely an achievement for us. That said, we just collected all the support, all the issues that were opened with us. I tried to categorize them into different issues, and we made a document essentially with it. I can share that on screen, and just a second there. And you can just go to our website, consult it. It's in the troubleshooting section of the website, which I'm a bit of working on right now, trying to make it more comprehensive. We're doing the same for space heaters as well. You can also, while we're there, you can see that we do have those new Bitaxe stands. We'll upload that also in our download section here in the 3D models, so you can go ahead and download that.
Looking awesome, by the way.
Yourself. Thank you. We're also now updating to the 202 version and already working on the 204 version. So that's also coming up, and you can see the table contents here. So you have those different issues that are popular that we've seen. One of the most popular I've seen that's a bit chaotic is, for instance, that cycle loop here, that persistent boot. So when you have incorrect information, for instance, you have that the Bitaxe that's going through a continuous loop. So we found some easy solutions. So that the goal of our solutions is not necessarily always the best technical solution, but we always try to find an easy fix for the customer. So for instance, in that case, you could just reflash your Bitaxe, right? But I think it's going to be obvious to those who have the confidence in doing so. So if
Wait. I need to
yeah.
interrupt you. Open up a new website for me, please. Because this is something I addressed and I got a solution for this. Like, to all the people who are watching right now, if you do come up to this issue that you cannot, like, your Bitaxe is not running as normal and you want to
Oh yeah,
reflash
yeah.
it stock, open up a new website. It's called wantclue.github.io. Could you do this in
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
tab?
Yeah, just a sec. OneClue.github.io.
Yeah, slash,
Oh, slash.
and then slash bitaxe dash web dash flasher.
Oops.
There's a dash missing.
Yeah,
So
got it.
basically what you can do here, you need to run this in Chrome, by the way. You cannot run this on Firefox. I don't know. This has to do something with how
Got it.
Firefox and Opera and all those other browsers work. So this will work on Chrome. You simply just connect your Bitaxe via USB cable. Then you open up this web page. This is, by the way, hosted on GitHub. You can look through all the source code if you want. And then there will be a button that says connect. If you connect your Bitaxe via USB cable to your PC, make sure that you press and hold the boot button so that the ESP is going into this boot option. And then you see this connect button here. You simply click connect, then a new pop-up window appears and you can select which kind of port you want to select on. As you see there's the connect button. And then you can simply connect to the Bitaxe, and then you click on install Bitaxe Flasher software, and it flashes the Bitaxe completely new. So you don't need to download any other software, anything else. You just need a browser and you just need a USB cable. Be aware, the current version is only for the BitaxeUltra, but this is working. I tested it multiple times and other people as well.
Awesome.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I haven't tried it myself yet, so I will definitely do so after the stream. So yeah, so you have those different solutions here, and given the speed all the development is going on, and given all the creativity from our members, there's possibly some better solutions. So if you guys have a better solution to any of those issues, definitely reach out and we'll add them in our resolution as well. And if there's any, like, don't hesitate, you can copy paste. If there's any other of those manufacturers out there, like Altair, Bitcoin Merch, or whatever, they want to use it, no problem. I can also post it on GitHub if it's better for people, and make it open source in this way. So yeah, that's the troubleshooting guide we did so far, and we're obviously going to stay really aware to all our customers' issues and update it ourselves through time as well.
So I know WantClue is working on with Ducks Tape is working on sort of a wiki documentation effort. I'm wondering, does it make sense to try and combine these, or do you guys want to keep them separate for now?
I'm definitely planning on implementing the troubleshooting guide if this is your question. So this will definitely be a section on the upcoming wiki for the complete OSMU things that we do have, like the Bitaxe Max, the Ultra, the Hex, the PyX, the Nerd Miner, stuff like this. So everything will be on this wiki. There is you can call it like a preview currently available at the website osmu.wiki. But there's not that much in there currently. I need to work through this. Most of the stuff is currently in a separate repository that's called bitaxe-doc. You can find this on the GitHub page from Skot. I've been working on this, but yeah, I'm trying to implement everything into the new wiki page. And yeah, I'm definitely planning to implement also a troubleshooting section in there.
Yeah, so let's just you
Nice,
can
nice.
just go and rip the ours, and we can keep on building from there. And if you allow me, I'll also update my section over time from the one we have on the GitHub, so we stay in sync. So that can make sense. I do see,
Yeah,
for
definitely.
instance,
It
on
makes sense to do everything in the group.
we do have some influencers and content producers in our channel that's watching and interacting with the channel right now. So I definitely invite them as well to bring more visibility to those products, and you guys can help us in making the how-tos and the how to use the sniffer, how to use the Bitcoin, how to use the Bitaxe, how to use all that stuff. Definitely would help out in the development. I think that's the stuff we're missing, and we unfortunately don't all have the time to do it as much as we'd like to. So the more that's out there, the better, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. It really helps out, and even if you are not familiar with GitHub or anything else, and you don't feel confident to publish anything up there, you can always come over to the OCMU Discord and post your stuff that you want to post somewhere up there, and I bet there will definitely be someone who can upload this stuff to the GitHub repositories or to the wiki. So don't be shy. Just come over there. We are usually friendly, so yeah, just join us.
So I just noticed, I don't know how long you posted it, but Nebula has apparently made a Salier analyzer for both Hashboard I2C and Power Supply I2C.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool. He says he just published it at the beginning of the stream.
Oh, wow. So now we know what we're doing next stream.
Yes, I think so.
Oh yeah.
I think so. That's awesome. I had no idea, man. I think, yeah, we're gonna have to do this again. This time we can start getting in there, and the cool thing about Nebula Miner's high-level analyzer is that it gives you a better indication of what's actually happening to the PSU or the hashboard, instead of just seeing these random streams of bytes.
Right, and that my understanding is just a simple, trial and error process where you do have to figure out like this message equals this type of command, right? There's no way around, right? It's brute force.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still a lot to be understood, but it sounds like Nebula's got a pretty good handle on this if he's made a high-level analyzer for it. So
So making our lives much
this is
simpler.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this also wraps up today's stream. I believe like we are almost 2 hours in here, and yeah,
Oh my gosh,
I
it's been
think
2 hours
we
already. Wow.
mentioned not close, like 1 hour and 40 minutes currently, but I think
Hell
this
yeah.
closes kind of today's session and what we're trying
Yeah.
to achieve here. So definitely in the next session, you can expect to see us to dive a little bit deeper into what's going on with the ITC and the overall serious sniffing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, already having the decoder is going to help, and we're going to be able to have a look. And Scott especially is going to have a look at that capture already, and we're going to have a better idea to where to look at to explain that content to our viewers on next stream. So yeah, definitely. Again, God's word, Godspeed. We're doing good progress, and I'm definitely thankful for the whole Open Source Miners United community, but also to you guys for being part of this stream again.
Right on, guys. This is awesome. This is awesome. Y'all rock.
Amazing, amazing. So I think that's the time for us to now end the stream. I thank everybody for joining in here for watching. I definitely thank Nebula Miner for all the contribution that he's doing. This dude is amazing, really. Props to you. Anything else you want to say, guys?
That's it for now.
That's
All right.
it for now. Tune in next time.
See ya. Cheers.
Bye bye.